Paige Bueckers stirred up a storm today, and the footage has fans everywhere fuming. The moment in question? Bueckers drove to the hoop, converted a bucket, then turned right around and collided with Kelsey Plum so hard that Plum hit the floor like a sack of bricks. No glance back, no apology, no hesitation, just Paige jogging back on defense as if it were part of a drawn-up play. The referees? They looked like they were auditioning for a mime act, completely silent. No whistle, no foul, not even a warning. And that's what's got the basketball world heated. Anyone else does that and they're getting hit with a technical at minimum, possibly even a flagrant. So why does Paige Bueckers seem to be wearing an invisible crown every time she steps on the court? Is this fair officiating or blatant favoritism? Drop your thoughts below. But let's break this all the way down, because this situation isn't isolated. It's part of a broader trend that fans, players, and analysts alike are starting to recognize. First, the officiating was abysmal. How does a play that obvious get overlooked? Second, this is déjà vu all over again. We've had these exact same conversations with other players, Caitlinclark being the prime example, yet the treatment remains wildly inconsistent. Remember when Clark would accidentally catch a defender while flailing for position and suddenly she's trending nationwide, accused of being dirty or unsportsmanlike? The media turned it into a referendum on her character. And now, Paige barrels over Plum with zero acknowledgement, and suddenly it's all shrugs and excuses? That's not how this is supposed to work. This wasn't minor contact or a shoulder brush. This was a straight-up collision. Paige scored, spun around, and mowed Kelsey down like she didn't exist. Intentional or not, the optics are brutal. When you plow through another professional athlete and don't even look back to check on them, it sends a message, whether you mean to or not. The officials acted like they were watching a different game. No common foul, no technical, not even a warning. Silence. And this is where the frustration builds because all anyone wants is consistency. And let's be real, the WNBA has never been a beacon of consistent officiating. Paige scores, stares down a ref, turns around and flattens an opposing guard, then jogs back like she owns the court. If that's not at least a common foul, what is? It's probably not malicious, sure, but did she care? Clearly not. And perception matters. When caitlinclark so much as brushes past someone, whistles are blowing and articles are flying. Angelreese throws an elbow while battling for space and ends up ejected or slapped with a flagrant. Players like Aaliyah Boston or Shakira Austin can barely defend without drawing a whistle. But Paige? She gets the let them play treatment. This isn't hate on Paige. She's undeniably talented. Her mid-range game is elite, her vision is impressive, and her resume from college speaks for itself. But when one player is granted leniency the rest of the league could never dream of, we're not watching basketball anymore. We're watching favoritism in real time. Fans notice. Players definitely notice. And that's why tensions are boiling. Kelsey Plum isn't known for keeping quiet, and she's certainly not the type to let something like this slide. You better believe she'll remember this, and you better believe that locker rooms across the league are having their own conversations about it. Here's the thing. This wasn't a preseason game. This was a high-stakes late-season matchup. Every possession matters. The aces are jostling for playoff position, and the wings are playing spoiler. Emotions were already high, and the last thing anyone needed was an officiating disaster. But that's exactly what we got. When refs don't enforce basic contact rules, they open the door to retaliation. One shove becomes a scuffle, and suddenly you're not talking about the game anymore. You're talking about brawls, suspensions, and PR damage. Let's not forget Paige didn't have a flawless game either. On paper, 18 points, 7 assists, and 6 rebounds sound solid. But take a closer look and you'll see how reliant she is on foul calls. She's mastered the art of foul baiting, slowing down into contact, launching awkward shots to draw the whistle, and racking up free throws. Meanwhile, players like Kelsey Plum are just trying to hoop, competing straight up, not flopping or lobbying refs for every drive. And ironically, she's the one who got bulldozed and ignored by the officials. Imagine if the roles were reversed. If Plum laid out Paige with that kind of contact, would the refs really let it slide? Absolutely not. That whistle would have shattered glass. That's the core issue. It's not just one missed call. It's the pattern. And Paige's body language made it worse. She wasn't even looking at Plum. She made the bucket, glared at the ref, and walked directly through Plum like she wasn't there. It wasn't malicious, maybe, but it was definitely careless. And careless should still be called. You knock someone over, that's a foul. That's the rulebook. It shouldn't matter who you are. But apparently, if your jersey says Bueckers, the rules adjust. Let's zoom out for a second. The WNBA has made it clear they want marketable stars, and Paige fits the mold perfectly. College legend, highlight-friendly game, clean public image. But when marketing takes precedence over fairness, you compromise the credibility of the entire league. Fans see through the bias, and so do the players. That's why there's rising resentment. It's not just a Paige versus Plum thing. It's Clark fans versus Paige fans, Reese defenders versus everyone, Boston supporters voicing frustration when their stars don't get the same whistle. This isn't about one moment. It's about a pattern that's cracking the league's foundation. And here's the wildest part. Paige didn't even need to do it. She has the skills to dominate without the extra antics. But instead of playing clean, she made a reckless move that overshadowed her whole performance. And the officials, by refusing to call it, endorsed it. That's why the backlash online is so loud, not because Paige is evil, but because the system around her is broken. If Caitlinclark pulled that same stunt, you already know what would happen. Instant technical. ESPN running hot takes for 48 hours. Twitter threads demanding punishment. The entire sports media machine would fire up. But for Paige? Crickets. Silence. Excuses. And if you think players like Clark and Reese aren't paying attention to that, think again. They see it. They live it. That's why the tension is real. And don't give us the she's a rookie excuse. Clark is in her second year and gets hacked with no whistle. Reese is also a sophomore in the league and already carries the villain tag. If Paige wants to be called a star, she needs to be held to a star standard. No special treatment. No pass for being the media darling. You can't claim equality and then ignore blatant fouls because someone's jersey sells more. This whole thing should be a wake-up call. Not just for Paige, but for the WNBA itself. You want legitimacy? Then you can't protect one player and punish the rest. Either physical contact is a foul for everyone, or it's a foul for no one. Pick one. Because right now it looks like favoritism in high definition. And Paige? She might have gotten away with this shove, but the spotlight is now locked on her. Every move, every bump, every foul bait attempt will be picked apart going forward. You don't get to duck accountability forever. Basketball is a simple game. Rules exist for a reason. You knock a player down, that's a foul. The fact that this even has to be debated is proof that the league has lost control of the narrative. And the Paige Bueckers privilege? It's on full display. So let's call it what it is. A blown call, a reckless play, and a league scrambling to defend its favorite while everyone else plays under a different set of rules. The question now is simple. Will the WNBA finally fix the double standard, or are we doomed to watch the same drama unfold week after week? One thing's for sure, Hollywood buzzing will be watching.